Well, good morning, kids. We're going to talk a little bit about Abraham's journey. You know the story now that Abraham had God come to him and tell him to go to a place that God would show him and to leave his family and his father and his mother and his city. And that's just what Abraham did, didn't he? So this is the place here, a picture of it, that he traveled to and from. You can see the red line there, and the top is where he started, up in Haran, and then the bottom is where he ended up, and that was about 400 miles. And this whole place is called Mesopotamia. So God was going to show him where Israel was going to be, where God was going to create a new land, where he was going to show himself to the Abraham and to Abraham's kids, and then they could go and tell everybody else about this great God that's super awesome and the only true God, the one that made heaven and earth and the sea and all that are in them. Okay, this is what the houses probably looked like back in Abraham's time when he lived in Haran, when he grew up. This might have been what the houses looked like, because they found these beehive houses right up there, kind of by where Abraham was. So this might have been Abraham's neighborhood. We don't know. And here's a painting of what it might have looked like on Abraham's journey with his family leaving and going. And here's another nice painting that shows what it might have looked like at night when Abraham and his family and friends were leaving and going. And you can see God up in the clouds up there. We don't know what God looks like, but they painted him up there. And he's peeking down, watching over Abraham, protecting him. Now here we have a picture of what the wilderness, part of the wilderness, looked like that Abraham had to travel through. You can see a man dressed up like Abraham, and you see in the back, that doesn't look like a very easy place to go walking through. That looks hard. Sometimes God asks us to do hard things. Okay, now here is a tent that looks probably similar to the ones Abraham and his family that he was with used. This is something like what they had to set up whenever they stopped and slept for the night. And here's another picture of the wilderness. This is kind of what part of the wilderness looks like. Mountains, little teeny bushes, hard places to walk through. This is more of the wilderness. The end. Huh? A lion? Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. There were lions out there too, and they had to watch for them. But they didn't all look nice, cute, cuddly, and fluffy like this one. Long time ago, there was a very wise and godly man named Daniel. And he was loved by the king. One time, Daniel got a special thing called a promotion, where he got to be the highest person in the whole kingdom other than the king. And there were some other people that were in the club too that weren't as high up as Daniel, and they got jealous. And they wanted to get Daniel in trouble because the king took him and said, "You know what? You're my favorite. I like you the best, and I like giving thumbs up when I see you because you're so wonderful." So the other two guys started to get jealous because they weren't quite as high up as Daniel. And the king showed how happy he was with Daniel, and he even made Daniel face the camera and smile. Then he gave another thumbs up, and this kept irking the other two guys
to the point where they started to get sad and mad and jealous, and they came up with a plan. They said, we've got a great idea. What we're going to do is ask the king to make a rule that nobody should worship anybody but the king. Isn't that stupid? We all know that we should worship God. But these guys tempted the king and said, hey, how about if everybody worships you and nobody can pray to any god except you? And the king said, hey, that's a great idea. I am a pretty good king. I sure look good. And so the king said, let's do this. Well, Daniel was a faithful man, and he loved God so much that even though he knew about the new rule, he knelt down by his window and he prayed like he did all day long anyway and didn't change his ways. And then everybody came over that was planning the evil thing, and they said, look, there's Daniel. He's praying. Now we need to get him and take him to the king and show the king how bad he's been, because he's evil. And the king was so distraught and upset and sad. He said, no, I forgot about Daniel. He prays all the time. I didn't want to do this to him. My pride got in the way and I started to think I was a god. Why did I do that? Oh no. And I said that I'd throw anybody in the lion's den who did that. That means Daniel's got to go in the lion's den. He's my best friend and I care about him. No! Oh, I feel sick. So they chucked him in the lion's den with all those vicious lions. Look at them. Very strong and powerful. And there was Daniel in front of the lion, the one with the flower in its hair. It was very mean looking. But suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared and showed its power, and all the lions got tame. And they all got happy. And they didn't want to hurt Daniel. All they wanted to do was lick him. And so Daniel said, hey, get away from me and stop licking me. This is terrible. It's tickling me. No, stop, please. Don't lick me. It's tickling me. And so Daniel got tickled by the lions instead of eaten, because God protected him from the lions by the angel. So the next day, the king didn't know about that, and he came out to the cave, and he was going to, just by chance, call out to see if Daniel, just by chance, was still alive. And he said, Daniel, are you still in there? Has your God saved you? Or are you dead like I think? And Daniel went, here I am. My God saved me. And the king went, woo! And he lifted his hands up in the air and got a big funny grin on his face. And he even jumped up and down. And then there were kids running by his feet, all happy. So the king took Daniel and brought him back to his position. And he was very happy. And he took the bad guys and he put them in with the lions instead. So they got punished. And everybody was happy in the kingdom because they heard about the story about Daniel. And then some girl with a pink shirt and a flower in her hair came up and hugged the king. The end.